There is a number in today's forecast that does not belong in April, and when you hear it, you will understand immediately why the next 10 to 15 days represent something genuinely unusual for this country. 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram of atmospheric instability, reaching as far north as Minnesota, potentially into Canada. That number, in that location, in April. The atmosphere in the deep south, in July, routinely produces those kinds of instability values. That is summer-level energy. That is the fuel that produces the most violent supercells in the country's most active severe weather corridor. And it is appearing in model guidance for Minnesota in the second week of April. This is not a normal setup, and the next 10 to 15 days are going to make that very clear to a very large portion of the United States. Let me walk you through what is happening and when. Starting with today, and building toward the days that carry the most weight. Today and tomorrow, the atmosphere is already in motion. A system is moving across the Great Lakes, bringing snow into Canada from this side of the border, while simultaneously triggering isolated thunderstorms across Wisconsin and Iowa. The hail and wind threat with these storms is real, but contained. A marginal risk covers southern Iowa. Supercells are developing across Missouri, specifically in the Springfield and Joplin corridors, with an isolated severe threat. Down in Kansas, the marginal risk zone covers a central corridor from Dodge City through Manhattan and Abilene. 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail in the quarter to half-dollar size range. This is not a life-threatening event for that area, but it is the opening movement of what is coming. The atmosphere is waking up. Friday extends the marginal threat southward, into the Texas Panhandle and into northwest Arkansas. The Bentonville and Mountain Home area of Arkansas is in the picture for isolated wind and hail. And along the Oklahoma-Kansas border, slow-moving thunderstorms raise a flash flooding concern. Slow-moving storms in that terrain can dump significant rainfall in a narrow corridor before anyone is ready for it. Now, Saturday, the setup changes. A slight risk, level 2, is issued by the Storm Prediction Center for the High Plains. West Texas and western Oklahoma are the focal point. Damaging winds, very large hail, and an isolated tornado risk. These are organized severe weather hazards, not marginal. If you are in the Amarillo through Lubbock corridor, or in western Oklahoma on Saturday, treat this as a serious, severe weather day. But Saturday is the warm-up, and Sunday is when the warm-up ends. The severe weather threat on Sunday covers one of the largest geographic footprints of this entire active period so far. The corridor runs from Wichita, Kansas, southward through Oklahoma City, through Tulsa, through Dallas-Fort Worth, Abilene, Waco, all the way down to San Antonio, Texas. That is one of the most populated stretches of the southern United States. Millions of people across Texas and Oklahoma in a direct, severe weather threat zone on Sunday. Large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, all three. Significant supercells tracking across central and southern Oklahoma and into Texas Sunday afternoon and evening. And the atmospheric moisture feeding these storms, flowing northward out of the Gulf of Mexico, is deep and well established by Sunday. This is the kind of moisture that keeps storms energized for hours as they track across the landscape. And then Monday arrives. And Monday is different from everything that came before it. Let me explain why Monday stands apart from Saturday and Sunday, even though both of those days are serious events. The low pressure center tracking across the plains on Monday will position itself in a way that organizes the atmosphere across an enormous corridor simultaneously. The slight risk area on Monday stretches from Wisconsin and Minnesota, all the way southward through the Midwest, through Kansas City and St. Louis, down to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. That is nearly the entire eastern half of the central United States under an organized severe weather threat. And here is the number that makes Monday exceptional. The atmospheric instability, CAPE values, reaching into southern Wisconsin and the Minnesota border on Monday, is projected at levels that do not typically appear that far north until late May or June. 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram at those latitudes in the second week of April. Combined with the wind shear that is already in place from the West Coast trough, every ingredient for a significant tornado outbreak is present. All hazards are on the table Monday. Tornadoes, including the potential for strong, long-track tornadoes in the most favorable zones. Baseball-sized hail or larger. Widespread damaging winds. The Ozarks are specifically flagged as a potential outbreak zone, and the threat extends northward into the Midwest, in a way that will catch people off guard if they are not paying attention. I want to be direct about the geographic spread of Monday's risk. Wisconsin residents, this is relevant to you. Minnesota residents, this is relevant to you. The atmospheric instability on Monday, reaching into these states at this time of year, is genuinely anomalous. Not just above average, anomalous. The kind of instability that produces the storms you typically only see in the southern plains in peak severe weather season. Now let's look past Monday, because the atmosphere does not rest after this weekend. Tuesday shifts the threat east and southeast, the storm system accelerating toward the Ozarks and eventually into the deep south, brings severe weather to the Waco through Shreveport corridor, down into Little Rock. This is the third consecutive day of organized severe weather threat, and it is impacting a different geographic zone than the previous 2 days. By Wednesday, the threat reaches the Ohio Valley. Communities in Indiana, Ohio, and into Kentucky enter the active zone as this multi-day pattern progresses eastward. And the pattern does not stop there, it keeps reloading. The West Coast trough that is driving all of this, the persistent dip in the jet stream that keeps sending storm systems eastward over the Rockies, is not going away in the near term. Forecasters are watching this setup and using language that rarely appears for multi-week outlooks. The potential for severe weather activity every single day for the next 10 to 15 days. Not every day will be a major outbreak. Some days will be marginal threats. But the baseline of atmospheric activity across the central United States for the next 2 weeks is elevated in a way that demands consistent preparation. This is what a locked-in pattern looks like in practice. The conveyor belt does not shut off between storms. It feeds the next disturbance while the current one is still producing severe weather. Let me address what this means practically for different regions. If you are in Texas, Oklahoma, or Kansas, you are inside the most active zone for the next several days. The weekend is your most immediate concern. Saturday for West Texas and western Oklahoma. Sunday for the entire I-35 corridor and the major population centers. Monday for the broader corridor extending into Missouri and Illinois. Have your shelter plan ready before Friday night. Do not start thinking about logistics when a warning sounds. If you are in Missouri, the Ozarks, or Illinois, Monday is your day of highest concern. The atmospheric instability reaching into your area on Monday is not typical for your latitude in April. Treat it with the same seriousness you would treat a peak severe weather day in the deep south. If you are in Wisconsin or Minnesota, this may feel like it does not apply to you. April severe weather in these states is not a common discussion. But the instability values reaching your latitude on Monday and Tuesday are genuinely anomalous. Have alerts active on your phone. Know your shelter location. And for anyone who travels for work or has outdoor events planned through the middle of the month, build flexibility into your schedule. The days of elevated severe weather risk are stacking up on the calendar. Outdoor plans that cannot be quickly adjusted are a liability in this kind of pattern. Here is your timeline. Today and tomorrow, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri. Isolated severe weather with the moving system. Marginal risk. Springfield and Joplin area in Missouri. Hail and winds across central Kansas from Dodge City to Abilene. Friday, Texas Panhandle, northwest Arkansas. Marginal threat extends into northwest Arkansas near Bentonville. Flash flooding possible along the Oklahoma-Kansas border from slow-moving storms. Saturday, West Texas, western Oklahoma, slight risk. Damaging winds, very large hail, isolated tornado risk. High plains the primary zone. Sunday, Wichita through San Antonio, significant severe weather. Large hail, damaging winds, organized tornadoes. Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Dallas-Fort Worth, Abilene, Waco, San Antonio, all inside the threat zone. Have your plan ready before Saturday night. Monday, Wisconsin and Minnesota through Dallas-Fort Worth, most dangerous day, all hazards. Extreme instability reaching unprecedented levels for this latitude and time of year. Potential for strong, long-track tornadoes from the Ozarks through the Midwest. St. Louis, Kansas City, Missouri, southern Wisconsin, all inside the active zone. Tuesday, Waco, Shreveport, Little Rock. Threat continues into the Deep South corridor. Wednesday through mid-month, Ohio Valley and east. Repeated rounds of severe weather push eastward. Pattern remains active through approximately April 20th. We will track every day of this closely. Stay connected throughout. We'll see you in the next update.